But that's not meant to happen, was it? It's meant to be a video. Play the video. Bow. Cheers, everyone. What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Are you well? What's happening in the world of Manchester United? Well, David Ornstein has just dropped an absolute madness on Manchester United's interest in Carlos Baleba. Let me get exactly what's been said, and then I'll go through my take on a few different things, including some other stuff. All right? And then we can just get into whatever, I guess, because it is alive, and that means we go into whatever we do. So, what has Ornstein said? Ornstein has said Manchester United contact Brighton via intermediaries to explore conditions of a deal for Carlos Baleba. Brighton do not plan to sell this summer, and all sides are aware that a move may be unrealistic. But United are keen, and we should know in the coming days whether a deal is plausible or not. Now, that's actually massive, right? Right in the middle of Manchester United seemingly swaggerjacking Newcastle, coming up on the inside and just taking them for the mugs that they are, honestly. And we can get into just how pathetic Newcastle are as a fan base at some point, because I like doing that anyway. But on the back of what's going on with the Benjamin Sesko deal, which again, I've mentioned it a few times, but I'll reiterate it just for clarity. I would prefer Watkins. I don't understand how we've got the money to do what we've done with Mbeumo, to do what we've done with Cunha, to throw what we've said we're going to throw at Benjamin Sesko, and then to be like, hey, Brighton, start a car, because we want to talk about Carlos Baleba. Now, Carlos Baleba is going to be somewhere in the region of 100 million, because that's where Brighton just starting talking. You can't ring Brighton up unless you've got 100 million written down on a check somewhere. You're not even ring them when they do that. So, I don't understand where United are getting the funds to do this. I really don't. And as much as I'm enjoying the piss boiling, you know, some of those Newcastle fans, certainly not all of them, have got a point. How have United made so many redundancies this year, cutting the costs that we've cut, taking soup out of people's lunches at Carrington, and then potentially, or at least act like we're going to go and have the summer that we're currently in the middle of having? It doesn't add up. Unless, and I'm not saying this is what's happened, I'm just throwing it out as an unless. Manchester United have absolutely honey-dicked everybody this entire window, acting like we've got no money, which honestly is what we should have been doing in the first place, while we have had money. Now, PSR was never the issue, right? United was always going to be okay when it came to PSR. My issue, what I thought was always going to be the issue, is I didn't feel like we had enough money. Why? Well, that was the noises that was coming out of United, that we were actually skint. So unless we've managed to pull some cash... Jay Washington says, Cunha transfer will be accounted for last season. It doesn't matter when it's accounted for. PSR, it matters, right? Okay, it matters in which season things go where. But when it comes to the cash in the bank, it doesn't matter which month that was accounted for. It ain't there, it ain't there. And that's the thing for me. I don't know where we get that from. Are we about to sell our women's team to Ineos? Are we about to announce some partnerships or something? Like, is there money coming in that the club know about? I mean, I'm sure that there is things like that in the pipeline, but this is on the verge of being an absolute madness of a summer. Brighton says, are we selling the new Carrington to ourselves? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so United have made intermediary contact with Brighton. You don't do that unless you're serious. I don't think you do that. I still also think that something's going to happen with Saint-Lemain. I really do. Now, all of this comes around what happens with our sales. And I think there absolutely has to be sales. But I'll go into what's being said by everyone else. So David Ornstein obviously has tweeted it. Then, I don't know what happened then. He tagged after Indicala. What year is it? How are we referencing Indicala in 2025? And how's David Ornstein, of all people, giving him a doff of the cap? Anyway, there's been quite a few outlets that have gone with this, but it's the aggregators, really. It's nobody with certainly got Ornstein's credentials. Now, obviously, the way Brighton operate, Caicedo went for 115 million. They are not under any level of pressure to sell. United are going to have to throw at least 100 million in the mix for this. And I don't understand where this happens, to be honest with you. Why do we want him? Well, he is a midfielder with what can only be described as staggering defensive numbers. He was the only European midfielder or in top 5 leagues in Europe to get 30 tackles, interceptions, clearances, take-ons and aerial duels last season. If you want to play a high-pressing front-foot game, if you want someone that's got the athleticism to cover the ground, to break lines with carries, not so much necessarily with passes, he's pretty simple with his passes, to protect the back four, you're looking at someone with a profile similar to Caicedo. And he was essentially, Baleba was signed as essentially a replacement to Caicedo. There's a case to say that he's actually gone on and been better than Caicedo in the league, certainly last year. Brighton relied on him. When he was injured, they did not look anywhere near as good. Maybe even highlighting just how good he was for them last season. But the questions remain. Aren't we broke? How are we affording this? Clearly there's some level of Ineos investment underpinning these transfers. The other targets, Sesko, Baleba, have to be being supplemented by sales. You know, there has to be sales. Like, I don't even think we can entertain this without there being some sales. Some sales. There's got to be some sales. We have to get Garnacho moved on. Anthony has to get moved on. I saw a report yesterday which said Real Betis are interested in taking Anthony. However, they don't want to pay for him. They want him on loan again, and they don't want to pay his full salary. Yeah, cool. And I won't mind an Aston Martin. Do you reckon I can ring up the Aston Martin garage and just let me have one? You've got 5 sitting in the showroom. Just let me have one. It doesn't work like that, lads. You want him, you're going to have to fucking pay for him. Brighton have previously valued Baleba at somewhere in the 100 million. Maybe it's 100 million tops, but it's 100 million, right? It's just not going to happen for... Well, you're not going to get him for 65. Maybe there's 80, 90s range that could be discussed, but you're not getting him for any less than that. Do we need to sell people first? Yes. Yes. We have so far recouped zero when it comes to sales. We've made a little bit money in sell-ons, but we've made zero, factually zero when it comes to sales this window. And we've got, you know, a good half a dozen players that need to be moved on. Can we somehow flip Højlund into the Sesko deal? Maybe that's something that's going on at the moment. Sesko seemingly just favours Manchester United, which is a massive positive, but the details and particulars of that transfer have not been thrashed out. Our bid has not been accepted yet. We've supposedly agreed terms with the player, which we were only going to do once we thought we could get a deal done. Now, maybe us lowballing them and you know, having Højlund as a bit of a bargaining chip is something that we can throw into the mix. And like I said, I genuinely do still think that there's something in the Saint-Germain. People in the comments here are talking about Garnacho to Chelsea. Why anyone would want to sign for Chelsea at the moment, I really don't know. I mean, they've got literally a million players. I'm almost tempted to start thinking how Baleba fits into the squad here alongside Sesko. I mean, this has been a massive summer. Even if Sesko is the last one, it's been a giant step forward. I think our defence is okay, right? You guys, a lot of you disagree with me, but I think the goalkeeper situation is an issue, but it's not as big an issue as the number 9. If we start next season and you've upgraded Højlund to Sesko, and you've upgraded those 2 number 10s with Mbumo and Cunha, we have got way more goals in the team than we had last year. That's a huge positive. Now, the midfield, I think you can improve the midfield. I don't think anyone's a natural fit. Casemiro clearly needs replacing at some point in the near future. Bruno Fernandes isn't a natural in any of those positions, in my opinion. Kobbie Mainoo, not a natural in either of those. Like, Bruno and Kobbie, if you had Baleba and Bruno and Kobbie, that's a fantastic midfield 3. But I don't know for sure how you get the best out of those as a 2. And Ugarte, I think he's got some excellent qualities, but the progression of the ball is probably a bit of a weakness of his. I don't think he was anywhere near as bad as he was made out to be last season, but I also don't think he's been a success. So I don't think you've got an obvious midfield 2. Bruno's probably going to play, even if he's not natural, which means that you bring in Baleba and Bruno. What's going to happen with that? Well, you've got energy, if nothing else. You've got the ability, like, Bruno would have to still rein it in to play in that deeper role. He would have to have a lot more discipline to his game to be able to play in that role. But Baleba would allow you to cover so much ground because he, on his own, can cover so much ground. And then, what a massive summer that has been. You've addressed chance creation, chance finishing, the ability to, the aerial ability and winning duels in the forward line. You've got someone you can play the ball up to. We have tangibly improved our goal scoring threat. If you can then fix the next biggest issue, which is a more natural midfielder, wow. And then if you can bring San Lamen in as someone that's like a potential future number 1, not this season, but maybe in future seasons, fucking hell. Like, wow. Ross Murphy says, are they preparing a future without Bruno? I would be very smart to do that. However, I question whether or not we actually are doing that. Because if you was preparing for a future without Bruno, and I asked Bruno. I literally asked Bruno this last week. When was it? Wednesday? A week ago today. A week today. My exact words to him, why the fuck are you still here and why didn't you go to Saudi? Bruno's reply was, I want to play real football. I want to play football, I want to play real football. It was something like that. If United were thinking about selling Bruno, the peak price of Bruno was a month ago, whenever that offer came in from Saudi. You're not going to get that replicated ever again. So if we were thinking about selling Bruno Fernandes, I think that the value of doing that has diminished since, in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It would be prudent to think about a future without Bruno, but I think if you were going to move him on, you would have done it already. Robert says, I think Sir Jim Radcliffe is hiding the potential sale for Nice. Possible. Jed says, club told Bruno it was his decision and they didn't need the money. They did. Andrew says, also heard if Isak to Liverpool fails, they might try Baleba, and allegedly Arsenal are interested. It's up to Brighton now. Valuation that's scared everyone off. That's an interesting one. Dan says maybe they can't risk losing his numbers right now. A year of Cunha and Mbumo might allow it. Trevin says, why can't he be Modric or Scholes and play till he's 35? It's possible, to be honest. Meza says, stop catering to the bullshit. We're not signing Baleba. Right. Well, we want to, right? Whether or not you think we're signing him, and my personal belief is that we won't sign him this summer, right? But I think we're going to try, right? I think we are going to try. I think that we absolutely have to sell, but I think we're going to try. I think we're going to go as far as trying, right? Which is all you can say. That's all you can say. I think we will try. Will we get it done? I have no idea, right? It's not me that's signing players, but I think the desire is real, and I think we will try. And I think that's all you can ask. So what happens next? Brighton know United want him. I think our intent is serious. Intermediary contact sort of suggests inquiries are being made. But if you look at the Benjamin Sesko deal, it seemed like United did a lot of that legwork via the agent and have only come in with the club officially at the very, very last minute. Brighton are in a strong financial position. They do not need to sell. They could easily afford to resist a sale or an offer coming in from Manchester United unless it worked for them. I don't know if there's a clause in his contract. United could absolutely 10x his wages and still not be mental, really. United could walk away and probably will end up walking away because I think it'll be an eye-watering package. But, man, it feels like we're trying to do this here, doesn't it? Daniel Berry says, didn't Brighton spend loads last summer? I think with their sales they can, though. JB says, sausage roll party. We shall have Man United paper cups and plates too. Bro says, 80 million is good business. How long's left on his contract? It's 3 years plus 1, I think. So he's in no danger of walking away, I don't think. Like, they're not going to do that. Omar says, when you're big, you're big. Yep. DYK says, Baleba's on 12k a week, so salary won't be an issue. That's, I mean, you could 10x it, and I think you do have to 10x it. If you pay 100 million for him, he's got to be on over 100 grand a week. Them's the rules. Kwoko says, just woke up to the news that this is Manchester United clip. Is absolutely beautiful right now. Yeah, I tweeted earlier that Romano clip saying do not underestimate Manchester United is a hell of a clip, and that's going to go absolutely viral. You're going to see that 100 million times over the next 5-6 years. Everything that United do, people are going to reply to it with that. Whether we win, you're getting that. Whether we lose, you're getting that. You're just getting that. That's how it's going to be. So, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. People in the comments even talking about Donnarumma. I would have absolutely dismissed that. And I think I probably have absolutely dismissed that. But maybe I'm wrong too, because there's seemingly something at least in that, isn't there? I don't know what, but there's seemingly something in it. Can we sell Casemiro? I don't know if we can sell Casemiro. We might be able to allow him to go and get his wages off the books. That would probably be quite the deal for us, I believe. But I don't know about selling him. I think selling him might be a bit giddy. That might be a bit too much for us to do. I'm trying to go back and see the super chats, but I can't. So if I do find them, I will get to them. Can I just change it to that? Oh, yeah, there we go. Got him. Found him. Tommy Boy says, if we can sign Baleba, I'm going to start saying some stupid shit on the timeline. Sausage roll party incoming. Mate, if you get Sesko and Baleba in, fucking hell. We 1 game a week. I might join you. I might join you. Speak says, do I believe on it? You bet I do. Do I believe we have the funds? You bet I don't. Potentially 5 starting players leaving us in January for AFCON. Don't care, pants off. Now that is an issue. I don't know about that. Josh says, we must have been digging up Pogba's cursed hyena at Old Trafford and struck oil. It's the only logical explanation. I'd love to know what the explanation of this is, because it is a bit mad, isn't it? Gaming Midget says 21 is coming, and rumours of 100 mil and training and second kit sponsorships. That would probably suffice it, wouldn't it? If I had to choose between, this is DRZ, if I had to choose between Baleba, Wharton and Guimaraes, Guimaraes, as in Bruno, which would help us improve our midfield balancing. I think I like Wharton and I like Baleba for that number 6 kind of role. Javi Guerra, I think there was some genuine interest in Javi Guerra as well, and it was rumoured to be only 20-ish million. All of those would have been a good one. K. Dieter says, the Geordie tears have been flowing today and I love it. Have they? Oh my God. There is a biblical level meltdown happening on Twitter right now, and it's all in the North Middlesbrough area. It's absolutely sensational, isn't it? Wynn says, can I remind you of what Amorim said at the end of last season? Good times are coming. It's been perfectly planned. Gareth says, will they be Greg's or homemade sausage rolls? Asking for a friend. It will be Greg's only. Omar says, how much for Wharton? Probably not as much as Baleba, to be honest, but not cheap. Born Red says, first time watching live. Love from Afghanistan. Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, place very close to my heart, but yeah, wow, welcome. Eben Flo says a smart club would get Guerrera after Baleba. I mean, a rich club would. I don't know about smart. Slash a second says Vardy to Newcastle. Vic says if we get Baleba and Sesko, that's 50% of our spine done. Literally brought in 4 starters. It's outrageous business. Amorim needs 2 more transfer windows. It might only need 1 more if you have another transfer window like this one. You might not even need 2. Jesus. Stephen says I'm ironing the sausage roll costume just in case. You might as well hang it up and leave it there. Zoe says we are dead during AFCON then. Hey, let's worry about that when it gets to January, shall we? Let's just get really, really giddy for now, and then we'll figure it out come January, won't we? Sam says, just imagine a world where Newcastle ended up with Højlund in the striker merry-go-round. Would cry laughing. Surely not. J-Lo Hustle says, just logging on, what are my thoughts on Bruno's position if another like Baleba is added? That if it's just Baleba, he still plays. If it's another on top of Baleba, I can't see us. I really can't see. I mean, I genuinely can't see us doing Baleba. I'm going to be honest with you. Daniel says, still need a squad. With 1 game a week, I think you're okay. You've actually got decent coverage. It's not necessarily world class, but you've got coverage. You've got options. Stuart Mitchell says, shame Lad Baby is a Forest fan with all the sausage roll talk. Huh? Don't know what that means. If we sign Baleba and Sesko, what would my starting 11 be? Depends on who you're playing, doesn't it? And that's the thing that I think people struggle getting in their heads the most. Max Savina says, I remember your scout report on Baleba and I got giddy thinking, if only. Now, though. Lads, how many times, if you see a really, really random scout report, there's probably more to it. I mean, if it's a random fucking kid from South America, it's a random kid from South America, I'll allow it, right? If you see one that's been hastily put together in a hotel room somewhere, and you're like, fuck's going on here? It's fucking something was going on now, wasn't it? Should we say no more? Rod says, my head will fall off if we sign him as well. Surely sales announced shortly with all the business going. I've got a feeling Mainu is going. Could be Brighton. Ooh. Does that sour it for people if we lost somebody like a Mainu? Because that might have to... Right. Cards on the table. What if that's the deal? What if that is the deal? That actually, Baleba can only come if we send Mainu the other way with maybe a little bit of cash. What about that? Vivit says, if we sign Baleba, Casemiro has to leave. Surprised he was not part of the leadership group. I don't think he speaks English. So, I think that's probably a factor. I think it's more of a factor that Luke Shaw's not in that leadership group, considering he's like the oldest sort of most senior player in there in terms of distance. lot of people disagreeing and agreeing. In terms of getting rid of Mainu to bring him in. Could you, so answer rather than just yes or no, because it's very difficult to understand what people are saying when they just say yes or no. Give a bit more of a detailed reply. Mainu to Brighton to facilitate Baleba. Would you be interested in that? Or do you, Baleba with Mainu going the other way, is that a deal that's maybe likely to happen, do you think? Have I not got a Greg's tracksuit? No. Garnacho leaving doesn't come up with enough money. I don't think so. I know you get like quite a lot of credit in PSR terms when you sell an academy product like that, but I just don't think that you get enough actual money coming in. Tobin says if Newcastle had any balls, they would submit a bid for Baleba. Yeah, but they don't. Carl says, need to remember that saving 250 grand a week on Rashford wages, it helps. Ines Fushi says, yes, totally sours the deal because that they'd be mint as a pair. They could be mint as a pair. They could be mint as a pair for a long fucking time as well, couldn't they? Jacob says, no, Mainu is Baleba's partner for the future, but maybe that's how we afford it, because like the club are clearly up to something. They're clearly fucking craftier than we all give them credit for, aren't they? Steven says, I'd get rid of Mainu, Bruno and Ahmad under the right circumstances. If you finish 15th, you're expendable. I mean, there is some truth in that. Maybe Hoyland is going now, maybe. Yellow Dean says, stop waffling, he's not for sale. Who? Who's not for sale? Super chat there from Garlic Bread Man OP says, does United have a granny who's left us £1 billion inheritance? I am not used to this. Mainu stays definitely. So, I lost it. It's going a bit quick. Does Baleba coming in hurt Kone's development stage? No, right. People really need to forget about this. Player development does not, in my opinion, get hurt by players coming in. Good players will always get opportunities. Now, if you've got... The best situation I can give you here is, and maybe it's a little bit contradictory in this, but there was injuries involved in this one too. Man United signed Fabio and Rafael. Rafael was meant to be the worst of the two, but he's the one that ended up playing 10 times more games than Fabio did. Opportunity and circumstance probably played a big part in that. So on one hand, maybe Fabio's development was hurt, but he did have injuries that Rafael didn't have. But he also had a bulletproof Paddy Ever in front of him when Rafael had like an aging Gary Neville in front of him. I don't think you should be stopping signing players because of the development potential of other players, because I think good players will get an opportunity. And I think competition is positive, always. You have to treat the players individually. You have to look at, let's say Kone, for example. You have to look at him and you have to say, right, okay, how do we develop this guy? Is he going to be getting first team minutes regularly in the first team this season? No, has to be the answer. Okay, what would develop him more? Would it be staying at Carrington, working on his physical traits, working on his mental understanding within the club and around Ruben Amorim, or would he benefit from maybe going to League One or the Championship on loan? And the answer to that is how you then end up developing him. And that's all we should be thinking about. Develop that player. Forget about how many people you've got in this place or that place. Just develop the player. Luke says, Ben Jacobs just put out, from Brighton CEO, said there's been no contact from United. That doesn't contradict what we heard, though. David Ornstein says it's been explored for intermediaries. And that is almost exactly the same thing that's just happened with Benjamin Sesko. And that was almost exactly the same thing that happened with Mbumo. Any news on outgoings? No, it's a little bit quiet on that front, isn't it? A little bit disappointingly quiet on that front. Jace Parrott says, if only we had a buyback first refusal, treat it like a loan where he gets regular football at Newcastle and buy him back next summer. Who's that talking about? Rasmus? I don't want fucking Rasmus coming back here. Fuck that noise. I can't believe the amount of people who were like, oh, he's a good player. There was a guy arguing with me today saying that when he comes good in 5 years, don't try and tell me that he wasn't a player at United. What? I will tell you, if he does come good in 5 years, then he's come good in 5 years. But you cannot factually tell me that Rasmus Højlund has been a good forward at Manchester United. You can't, because he's not. Fucking mental. Yastrama says, if theoretically we need to sell Mainu to fund it, why not just call Al Hilal back and see if they've still got 100 mil for Bruno? I think that ship has sailed. Nicky with a super chat says, I'll pay £42 for Baleba. I will pay 56 and not eat for a day if that's what they want. I'll create an OnlyFans. Do it, son. Varun says, maybe it makes more sense to sell the likes of Højlund, Xerxes and not another bomb squad next season when we are not 15th and can get better dough. Romano's just dropped a video apparently about Baleba. Grumpy Gamer says, I'm going to sell pictures of my feet as a fundraiser. We'll have the money by Friday, I'm sure. Valencia says, what the fuck, I thought we were broke. Dark High says that Indy Kayla fella has an update in an hour and a half. Oh, it's like being back in 2015 again. I mean, I guess in 10 years he was going to get one of them right, wouldn't he? Do I think we can look at Nice and Lausanne as spots to loan our players to? We should be. We absolutely should be. Yeah, I don't know why we're not. Surely awkward to have the bomb squad at training now the tour is over, if they're in at the same time. George says, apparently Sheikh Jassim is real. Yeah, he is real by all accounts, yeah. I mean, the question marks were valid because he wasn't someone that was out and about. And the bottom line with Sheikh Jassim is he didn't put up the fucking money. So, it doesn't matter. Dirk Diggler says, Mainu is wank. Well, that's factually incorrect. Did we find Barcelona's magic levers? I fucking hope so. Mainu goes, we lose out on academy record, absolutely no chance. Not necessarily. And it absolutely gets harder, but it's not necessarily gone with that. Akash says, did I tell Wilcox to look at Hayden Hackney? So I had a good interaction with Wilcox last week, and I had a good one with the manager as well. I gripped the manager on Sunday and asked him if he'd minded the question that I asked him, and then the manager kind of fucking sorted me out a little bit afterwards, and ignored everybody else in the press room, which was quite funny. But no, the conversation I had with Wilcox, purposely not going to ask him about transfers. One, because I don't want him to have to lie to me. And also, like, he doesn't know me. I kind of just started a bit of a relationship with him. I'm not going to just fucking steam in there and be like, oh, we fucking signing then. Because guess what? I've had 2 conversations with him. I don't get a third if I ask that. So you have to kind of have a normal conversation with him, which we did. We had a conversation about culture, about standards, about expectation, and about a few different things. It was a really good conversation. Like, and really, really grateful for the insight that I got from Wilcox. It's fantastic. What was the question for Amorim? It was what I said it was going to be. I asked him about what exactly can he explain to me what he's looking for out of the midfield too. I'm going to do a video on it because I asked that question, but then the video me and Rio did, Rio kind of gives something into it, which I think rounded out. We essentially got to the answer with the wrong question, if you like. So I'm going to try and record a video on it tomorrow, whether it gets edited, posted Friday, Saturday maybe, but we will see. We will see. But yeah, it was a great question. It was a great answer, but I want to do like a visual sort of tactics look at it, because I think it's worth it. Super chat there from Carbon Type says, I used to tell you to have a beer, but have a shake inside. Anyway, up the paddock, up the fucking mental bank account funds we've just come across at United. Hashtag Howson Scouts for Wilcox. Cheers, thank you. I'm off the beer until Dublin. I'm not having any more beer until Dublin. I didn't even have loads of beer while we was on tour, to be honest. I had a few. But yeah. Jace Parrott says, Steer meant May new to Newcastle. Oh, right, no, fuck that. Mulraven says, if we get Sesko over the line, I think I recall you saying that that would be an amazing transfer window. Will we be now unhappy if we don't sign this guy from Brighton? No, I don't think you can call it unhappy. We've absolutely levelled up the forward line. I think if we can get this over the line, it's like head falling off good. But I'm going to sit here and tell you now, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I would love it to happen, and I think it's a serious step forward for us. But I don't think we're going to be able to get all of the things that we need to get done. I still think San Lamen, the goalkeeper, I think that's quite a likely option for us, but I just don't think I don't think you're going to get it all done in one window. I think that's mental. Stephen says 3 weeks sober, not feeling the benefits yet, to be honest. Interesting. Now, I'm about to post a video on Patreon. And shout out to the fucking hell, hundreds of new people that have joined on Patreon. There's a video coming, well, fucking in about half an hour, or however long, it might even be in the morning, because Patreon's really slow actually at processing videos. So, but I'll post the video, which is a follow-on from last week's post on the Stephen Howson podcast channel. We've had our first podcast posted up there with Dave. I've got another one coming tomorrow. One I'm really excited about tomorrow. It's a fitnessy sort of one tomorrow that we're shooting. Friday there'll be another episode dropped of one that we've already shot. But there's a ton of stuff coming out on Patreon. All of my game model stuff from what we did over in the States, the 2 talks that I gave out in Alabama. They're both posted in full, as well as the presentations which you can download. That's all on Patreon. And if you want to support the channel and you want to get all these extra behind the scenes, there's going to be a vlog starting on there soon as well, which is a little bit of everything going on. Then come check it out. A couple of super chats here. I'm going to read those. Rudas says, whether we get Baleba or not, it's just refreshing that we're finally making moves to improve us on the pitch rather than going for shirt sellers. Totally agree. Something or other says, do I reckon Ten Hag has a WhatsApp group called We Played the Glazers with all his Man United signings from Ajax? I think him and SEG might have something going on like that, yeah, when you think about some of the signings that we made under him, for sure. Loads of people doing puns with you better believe it, etc. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here. But please come and check out the link in the description for Patreon, or just search Stephen Howson Patreon. There is a lot of extra stuff. A video's about to get posted in a second, but if you're interested in my game model, you're interested in the talk that I give on youth development, or if you're interested in my fitness program, I ain't selling fitness programs, and I'm not going to coach you. I've got fucking zero interest in doing that, but there's a lot of people have been asking what it is that I've been doing. All of that information is on there, and I'm trying to build a bit of a community that can support each other with all their stuff. I am doing an ultramarathon in 4 fucking weeks, and I've got a pulled calf, but I will be doing it, and I will be finishing it, and I'll be documenting the journey of doing that all over on there on the Patreon. But cheers for tuning in, as always. Let's see how this develops. I think by Friday we might see some more sort of developments coming on from this. But like always, thanks for tuning in. I'm back. I had to get some dental surgery done, emergency stuff today. My face is still a little bit swollen. It made the flight really funny. But cheers for tuning in, as always. See you fuckers in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms.